Excited, to watch our guys play. It's been a good week of practice. It's been a great camp. I feel like our kids have really bought into everything that we have asked them to do throughout camp and throughout this week. So looking forward to watching those guys play. I mean, it comes down to making plays on the field. I've told them that. We're mentally and physically prepared as you can be right now, and we still have 24 plus hours to go. Questions?
Pat, this is a team that has a lot of starters returning, All-Americans on both sides of the ball. Is this a team that you feel could get you back in the upper echelon of the ACC or in the national spotlight this year?
Yeah, I mean, we think that all the time, but it starts with game one, and we'll find out. That's why we get to play the games. We'll find out this weekend where we are. That's kind of what I want to see. We'll find out how close we are and what we have to do to clean it up.
Is there a year in the last 10 you would think back and think, wow, in camp I thought we were going to be this and we ended up being that? Like your expectation in camp ended up being pretty far off from what the team ended up being.
Yeah, I would say, I forget the year, it was after that Sun Bowl. After the Sun Bowl, when we had so many guys opt out, for the NFL and not playing that game, I was really impressed with the way they played a really good football team in that game. I felt like, it didn't translate into the next year. I think I mentioned that after the Notre Dame game. But things happen. But I felt like, wow, it's this is a new group of guys that we went and did that. It just didn't go. But that happens every year. It can happen any year.
How many position battles do you feel like you're still kind of up in the air and you're still waiting to see more from?
I mean, shoot, you could almost say just about every position battle. I mean, if you don't go out and execute, whether it's at left tackle, at quarterback, at running back, at defensive end, the linebacker, I mean, and again, we got a pretty good idea who's going to get that done, and I'd say we're about 85% locked into what we are. But there's always, you find out who those gamers are, right? I mean, we'll find out. I told you Trey Butkowski's our starting kicker, but he's still competing too. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a kicker or a long snapper. I think last year we started off with Upa being the long snapper and a short snapper, and then all of a sudden it was like Nico. So we're going to find out. That's why we play the games, right? Scrimmages are great. We try to get as close to a game day atmosphere as we can, but when those lights go on at noon, that's when we're going to find out. And like I told our football team, it's an audition. You're auditioning for your position, for your units, and we get to find out, how that's going to play out.
Do you think you'll go down pretty far in the depth chart just to get a lot of people experience this weekend and some of these early weekends before ACC play?
It depends on what the score's like. I mean, it depends on how we audition. If we play well, like we think we can and should, we got to make plays. I mean, you can have guys wide open if you miss them. You can be in position to make a tackle and miss it. I mean, so it all depends on what we do on the field prior to that.
What kind of impact do you think Joel's can make on this team? And how important is his contribution going to be to what you want to do?
It's going to be real important. I got a lot of faith in him. I think he had a heck of a bowl game. I've been impressed with him. That guy, that guy's been really solid. When you talk about a position battle, I mean, you got Des Reed in front of you, but that guy practices every day like a starter. He's consistent. I mean, there was times during OTAs he was dropping balls. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you could catch the ball. That guy catches the ball in the backfield. He is smooth. I've been really, really impressed with Joel's golf.
Coach Duquesne this weekend, first time in 90 years, almost 90 years, these two schools have played each other. Just what does that mean for the city?
I think it's great for the city. I think it'll be a great turnout. I think there'll be a lot of enthusiasm in that stadium. We got the Rib Fest. It'd be nice if you guys brought me some ribs after the game. Somebody. I walked by that in our Panther walk, and I never get to taste a rib. But I think there'll be a lot of excitement. I think it's two Pittsburgh schools playing, and I haven't had it for a long time. And I think for it to happen this Saturday be unique.
And are you planning to start the starters in this one?
Oh, there's no question.
Play?
You kidding me? Yeah, we are for sure. Yeah, our starters will play.
When you said Trey won the place kicking battle, I think you pegged his range at around 50 yards. That was where you were comfortable with him. That's very different from Ben and Saul's kicking like a 58-yarder. Are you inclined to maybe be a little bit more aggressive on fourth downs?
We'll be aggressive like we were last year. We're always going to be aggressive on fourth downs. So we're going to take our shots and trust our guys to make those plays, on offense and defense. It puts, the defense, at risk when you do that, whether it's 4th and 1 at your own 20-yard line or 4th and 1 at the plus 20. But we'll certainly, it'll be a different I guess decision making going when we cross that 50-yard line. There'll be different things we'll be thinking about as we enter into the red zone.
On Tuesday, Jerry Schmidt talked to some media, and he told the story about when you were first hired. Pretty early on, you called him like pretty immediately, and he was really touched by that. Why was that phone call important to you?
You know, I don't remember that, but I reach out to coaches that come on campus. You know, again, it's Duquesne. You know, I've heard great things about him prior to getting here. You know, and again, that's whether it's Tiger over at Robert Morris. I mean, same relationship. They've come over a bunch as well. I mean, just, you know, it's about developing coaches and giving their coaches a chance to come here, watch practice, and learn from our coaches. I mean, it's all, you know, and again, it may hurt you when they kind of know what you're doing, it's how you do it. But, you know, that's part of the game of college football when you try to share. I think as coaches, we're teachers, and you want to try to help and share, you know, the knowledge you have to help other programs. So, you know, we've always been, you know, open doors to that.
There's some good.
How important is it to have Sean Fitzsimmons ready to go week 1
Oh.
on that starting line?
Sean Fitzsimmons has been excellent. It's great to have him. He's been really good. So we're excited to have him ready, and he's playing at a high level right now. I'm excited to watch. You know, so is Nick James. I'll throw Nick James. I mean, Nick James, Francis Brew, those guys are playing really, really well.
There's some rule changes this year. It seemed like they might be relevant. The defense can't clap anymore.
We haven't been able, Chris, for 10 years clap. If you go back and Google, when I was at Michigan State, we were one of the first teams to clap. And if you went up and Googled Nebraska, Michigan State, defense 2000 whatever, clapping, you'll probably see a nice little video there. I think Carl Pelini, I think it was Coach Pelini's son, or our nephew was snapping, and he snapped the ball, or the quarterback got hit in the chest with the ball. I think ever since about those days, that's when those rules started to change. So we were clapping back in the days.
I think 9 years ago, you had an opposing head coach say you were clapping to
I don't remember
throw
that.
off his cadence. but I mean, that now it's something they'll
It's
penalize,
been for
right? I mean,
it'll be penalized. We got a penalty in camp. One guy was like, "Hey, come on, get you!" And it was like, "Oh, you can't do that." We used to have a signal on defense that we used to clap. Okay, obviously we can't do that, but that's been for 6 years. I don't know when that rule came in, but we're allowed 2 words on defense. We're allowed to make a move call and a trade call. No, so we're allowed to use the word stem and move, which stem is, we don't use that word, but maybe we'll start using it. They gave us language now. It used to be the offense could clap and defense couldn't. That's been the rule, but at least they gave us something, because offensive coordinators would come in and say, "Hey, we're using the word move in our cadence today." And when an official came in and told me that, I was like, "No, you can cancel that. That ain't gonna happen." So this is the first year that they've given us words that we're allowed to use on defense. So offensive coordinators wouldn't say, "Hey, we're using that word too. We're gonna clap. We're gonna use the word move. We're gonna use the word trade and stem." Like, are we speechless on defense? So that's got corrected, which is great for the NCAA.
the other one's the injury, that if you go down after the ball is spotted, it's a timeout.
Right.
You now have a tempo offense, right? Do you sort of value that a little bit more, that defenses can't do that?
No doubt about it. I mean, we don't do it. You've never seen, matter of fact, the last time we looked like it, we had, you guys can go back to the videotape at Tennessee. I think it was Keyshawn Camp came running off the field and then just went down. I called a timeout, because that's not the way it's supposed to be. We got, I used a timeout right there. He went down, and then I called a timeout because I thought it looked bad. He was just trying to get off the field, substitution issue on about the minus 20-yard line. I can see it, to this day. And I was like, what are we doing? We had a substitution, tried to get it with that fast tempo offense. So that'll certainly help our offense, I think, with guys wanting to, pull out. So that should help us a lot.
From your scouting of Duquesne, is there an area of their game that pops off the page that might be challenging for you guys?
Everything is a challenge, right? I mean, you got to go out and play. But I would say, their offense. You're talking their offense, or just anything? I would say offensively. I would say, just their RPOs and all that. We faced really good RPO teams in the past. I think Coach Schmidt does a great job with that offense, and Wario, the coordinator, that just I think they do a great job with the RPO game. So that'll be one where you're running the ball, and our backers are going to be running up in there. And then they're going to try to throw the ball behind our back, and our safety's got to play really good.
Their defensive line has been playing together for a couple of years now, pretty
And
solid.
so is that O-line too.
Yes, so
Yep.
the O-line, but specifically looking at against your offensive line, who does have 2 new people in it, is there not a concern, but just knowing that they have that chemistry and you guys are still building it?
Yeah, but that's great. Every year there's change, but I trust our 5 guys up front, regardless of It's not like Keith hasn't played and Percy hasn't played. I mean, they both have played up front, and Kendall Stanley's played as well. So, I'm not worried about their guys have played for a year. We'll take our guys any day.
Coach, just overall, how's Eli look as we start this new season?
We're going to find out Saturday, right? You know, I've been impressed with him. I think, he's taken on a leadership role as well as just, operating the offense. So, I think it's no different than Aaron Rodgers. What's he look like? You guys haven't seen anything. Is he going to be what he was with the Jets, or he's going to be like he is with the Steelers? I think it's the same thing, at that quarterback. He's been impressive through camp. I mean, he can run, he can beat you with his feet, and he can beat you with his arm. So, and he's got enough weapons to beat you.
I asked Cade yesterday if he thought Eli is a risk taker, and he said he actually wants Eli to be more aggressive. Do you think Eli's a risk taker? Do you think he should be more aggressive?
That's hard to say. I mean, it's a tough question. You can be aggressive as long as you're right? I mean, whoever's got the clicker last is great. We'll take our shots. He'll be asked to take his shots when it's time, but it's also, complete the ball, move the sticks, right? I mean, we'd like to be explosive, and Cade likes to be explosive. He'd like to score, every series in 2 or 3 plays. That's great. That's not college football. There's some really good defenses out there, and Duquesne and Mickey does a great job. Mickey Jacobs, that is. You can say he's aggressive or not aggressive enough, but I guess we find out when you get out there. It's you got to take what the defense is giving you, right? If they're gonna pack it back and be in some type of Tampa 2, like we want to be aggressive. I don't think so. I think the most important thing is we have the ball in our hands and we're not turning the ball over, unless it's a long bomb and it's a 40-yard change of possession, and we make the tackle too. So. Being aggressive is, you got to be smart and aggressive at the same point. So it's a fine line. I mean, it's hard sitting back there. It's easy with the clicker. It's hard when you're sitting behind that offensive line and you're looking down the field, and sometimes you can see guys, sometimes you can't. And those are the decisions quarterbacks have to make, right? But I always say it's easier watching on tape, but, being out there in the pocket's different. And Kate's played quarterback, so he knows.
At defensive tackle, with all the guys you have there, is there anyone you like to pair together, or are they all kind of rotate?
No, they work together. Stephen, they work well together. They all have rotated throughout. I mean, we feel like we got really 4 starters in there, and we'll rotate them as needed. It'll be based on play counts and how long was he out there, and giving another guy to start the series off. It'll be just try to keep it even and fresh. You
mentioned Mickey. I mean, he was a GA here. Could you kind of tell that he maybe had he's calling plays, now he's a coordinator? Did you sort of see that in him when he was here?
No doubt about it. I knew he'd be a great position coach and coordinator. Did you think he'd be a coordinator that fast? No, but it's his place. He's a Duquesne guy. He's a Jerry Schmidt guy. And Jerry's a loyal guy. So I think it was a great hire. He called and asked me about him. And I said, shoot, you can't. Matter of fact, we sat out there during his summer camp. It was late in the season. I think it was June when he maybe made that hire one year. We've got guys on our staff that were there as well. I mean, Mike Craig, one of our defense quality control guys, does a great job. Was the defense coordinator prior to Mickey, so we kind of exchanged guys. And we're excited. Mike Craig does an unbelievable job. Great football coach.
When something like that happens, when a guy that gets a promotion that was on your staff, is that your point of pride? You never want to lose a coach, but do you take pride in maybe a guy that coached under you moving on?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's kind of what you do, and that's why we talk to coaches and bring coaches in here, and that's exactly what you want is guys to move on. You hope you don't have to play them, because they kind of know what you do, they know your terminology, they know what you do, so you change stuff up, and so there's a lot of things we had to change just to make sure that we're not giving anything away.
Now, with all the responsibilities a college coach has, what's that emotion like for you, that first game running out of that tunnel, knowing it's just 3 hours of this, it's all led to this?
Yeah, I'm just glad I'd be able to run out of the tunnel, right? In January, I didn't know if I could run out of a darn tunnel. It's excitement. I mean, the kids will be cranked up, we'll be cranked up as coaches, and, it'll be a lot of fun. Season 11, let's go.
You have superstitions, rituals. What do you do Saturday morning?
Go for a walk. Just get ready for the game. I'm actually going through hit charts and just reviewing what they do offensively.
Good.
So, anything else? Okay.